I'm ready for y'all.
Welcome to Diversity Conversations, where we engage in thought-provoking dialogue to identify leadership solutions to today's most challenging conflicts. Stream live each week, Saturday 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Hosted by Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategist and CEOs Eric Ellis and Tommy Lewis. Join us and add your voice to this engaging diversity conversation.
Good morning, Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, the United States, and the world. My name is Eric Ellis. I'm the president and CEO of Integrity Development Corporation, and I'm joined this morning by my good friend and my brother,
Tommy Lewis, president and CEO of Make It Plain Consulting. We're back together.
Back together again, man. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Well, I saw you last week.
Okay.
Boy, you was hot. I said, Tommy is doing it in there. Teaching the IDI. I was taking notes and things, man. Fantastic job. Fantastic job.
You know, I give you a lot of credit and respect, Eric. The times a couple of years ago, maybe even last year, there were some times I was away, traveling, taking vacations. You had to go solo. It's not easy,
Right?
Talking to the virtual.
That's right. Community. We love y'all, but y'all ain't really visible.
Right. So got to depend on our producer. You know, she chimes in, Lydia. At times I can see her, etc. So talking to someone, but I think that's a learning opportunity for me as well.
Yeah, me too.
It really is.
Yeah.
To be able to literally sit in a box and record something, be it an audio book.
That's right.
Be it some notes.
That's right.
I used to have a mentor when I was an engineer.
Okay.
Rudy Dreyer.
Okay.
Rudy Dreyer. He was about 6'6". He wore his glasses on the top of his head.
Right.
He was a chain cigarette smoker.
Yeah.
He was over at
I think I remember him.
University of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And Rudy would record his thoughts. I thought that was interesting.
Right.
I mean, we were not doing any of that. He had a little recorder.
Right.
And would have it in his pocket. Just speaking to his comments. Remember to call Eric at 2:00 today. Right? You know, like you can't remember that. Short answer is when you're busy.
Right.
I'm talking about your head.
A lot of stuff get away.
So in doing the talk last week, I wanted to do well. Wanted to have a conversation, but there's a lot of information flowing through my head.
Right.
A lot of noise.
Right.
So having a conversation like this, we can get it out.
Right.
And it's released from our thoughts.
Right.
And then we get some input.
Right.
But when we're in an echo chamber.
Right. The pressure of time.
Yeah.
Is it silence? Oops.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, and it's getting away. Amen. Yeah. So what you all don't recognize is that Tommy and I do this. This is not just something that just comes naturally. You weren't born doing this. So we're learning along the way and grateful for those opportunities to keep learning. That's what we were just talking about before the show. We appreciate you all, but we miss you. When you all aren't here or present or talking to us, it can be a lonely platform, especially by yourself. But you did a phenomenal job, man. And I thought that what you taught was valuable and helpful for people as well. How was your week, Tommy?
Yeah, my week was good, Eric. I want to start quickly with the end, at least Friday. It's been a long time since I volunteered.
Okay.
Deliberately.
Right.
Not just showing up. Just by happenstance. So leadership, Cincinnati, my class, 43. We had a beloved classmate who passed away very unexpectedly, in my mind, very young. Right. And he was well-liked. He was Sikh religion. And so he was an architect as well. And before he passed away, which was sudden, he was working on the Ezra Charles Pavilion.
Okay. Right.
So this is a memorial acknowledgement of the prize fighter, Ezra Charles from Cincinnati. It's in downtown. It's in
West End?
West End.
Okay.
It's in the West End. So it's a statue.
Yeah.
And nice little pavilion.
Wow.
Got some seating benches. So our class, about 6 to 10 of us, every year, every couple of months, beautify it. So we got together and put down the plants, put down the flowers, put down the mulch,
right,
and we had carved out 2 hours. We got it done in maybe 45 minutes.
Okay.
Right. But it was good to connect with folks that I haven't seen in a few years. But I also realized that I need to volunteer more. Right. I need to volunteer more, Eric. And so I work a lot in the week. I give myself
it's not a lot of space.
Right. Volunteering intentional, regardless of the amount of time, for me it was a gift.
I'm gonna write that down, bro.
It was a gift that I was giving, and that gift was something that I cannot get back.
Right.
There's no reciprocity in giving time.
Right.
And I learned that. I gave my time. Yeah, sure. I gave my hands. I had those, but my time. Here's my 1 hour. And pride, ego, all that with how you gonna get this back? I can't get the time back.
No.
I gave it to them.
Right.
Different than money.
Right.
Different than some other things.
We'd rather give money a lot of times.
Yeah, indeed. We'd rather give money, throw it at it,
right,
let someone else.
Right.
But that's how my week ended, where and even today, where my son Bryce is being acknowledged with a scholarship, which is a gift, right, from Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay.
I want to thank the Newts for acknowledging Bryce Lewis. But that's how my week.
Well, Tommy, that's a fantastic week. And I would say that this is the other part of the story that Tommy didn't share, but that as we give of our time, which is limited, we also get back something. Not all the time, but sometimes we get back something in terms of fulfillment, that you did something that made a difference for somebody else. And so I wrote it down there that intentional volunteering is so important. And so this week for me, Tommy, last week I was in Cancun, Mexico with the little family. Yeah. That's what we call it, the little family, when it's Judy, I, and just 2 of our kids. Okay. So we had Jillian and we had Ethan with us. And we were there for a quick vacation, man, but we had a fantastic time. And they needed that. Sometimes when you are in life and you are just going at it, you need a break. You need to be able to just take some time to just kind of sit back. We didn't do a lot of things. We did go out into the community one time and made some tortillas. And some homemade ones. And so we went out there and made homemade tortillas, and it was just a beautiful thing with a young man that was starting his own business out there in the community. And we went to his house and he served us, tamara water, and we each made them. Then we had, Ada. I mean, it was that was one of the highlights. And then we went to a nice dinner. We were out on the beach. And Tommy, I was just out there, man. And I was just thanking God, man, just as I listened to the ocean come in. And I keep telling other people that that the greatest things in life are free. And what God has created, the powerful ocean, just to sit there in the morning, Tommy, one morning, because I've been working on this Urban League report, man. Thank you for teaming up with me on that. We've been working with that over the last several months, but this last couple of weeks we've been really at it. So I was working all the time. And that morning, sort of the last morning, man, I got up, Tommy, and I just went to the hot tub and enjoyed that and just listened to the ocean coming in, man. And I was just really blessed. The other thing that I did, and it's because I heard it on the show with Tommy, there was a person, I don't even think I followed up with you fully, but there was a person on that said, are you and Eric, are y'all going to the Strongtown National Conference that's in Cincinnati? I'm like, what? Strongtown? What is that? So I looked it up, man. And so I was in Cincinnati. I registered and attended it. Now, I'm not sure I'm not actually sure I'm going to come back, but I enjoyed the 2 sessions that I went to this last week. It was number one, what shocked me is that when I got up to the registration table, the lady said, Eric Ellis. Eric Ellis. Like, I'm not that famous. I'm the only black guy there. I'm the only black guy there. So they had seen my registration, looked me up, studied me, everything, because I'm trying to increase their diversity. So I was like, okay, this is probably going to be a problem. But I thoroughly enjoyed strong town. And here's the other shocking thing, Tommy. You know, Vanessa and I have master's degrees in planning. And so I've never really done much in planning. You know, I mean, I started off, I interned for the city, you know, and then I was going to Atlanta to maybe work at, then I got a job at the University of Cincinnati with Dr. Jeanette Taylor, and the rest is history. But I did not know that this conference, Strong Town National Conference, was for a lot of planners. So there were a lot of people there that work in planning physical space. And their whole thing is to focus on people and how to get people to do small acts that make big impacts. And so I was just blown away by the things that were being said. There was a contest on the first day that I went, small bets. And so they have like a couple hundred people try to, you know, send in applications to get a sort of an award, a financial reward from the Strong Town group. And it came down to five sort of finalists, four finalists, and they all presented their thing, and then the crowd voted on them, and one won. And it was called, I think it was called paper alleys. Have you ever heard that term?
I have not.
I had never heard the term paper alleys myself. Paper alleys are alleys that are owned by cities, but they're only maintenance on paper. So the city owns it, but they're not doing anything with it. So it's grown over, brush everywhere.
Wow.
And so this woman came with an idea of transforming paper alleys and getting volunteers to come and take responsibility for cutting them back, trimming them. And they had like a sheeps and a mutton contest and all kind of stuff that brought people together. Man, everybody was having a ball, and they really fixed up all these alleys. That's who won. And it was just interesting to hear, Tommy, this is what was powerful about this, is that we don't recognize how much brilliance exists out there in the world.
Yeah.
But when you start bringing people together and they start using sometimes some of their genius to figure out problems that we have. We hear too often, Tommy, from people who are elected officials and professionals, but there are brilliant people just in the world that are out here doing little things that are huge. The other person that I heard, the keynote speaker at the end, was a woman who is an administrator for the city of Newark, New Jersey. And she just talked about, she said that in Newark, New Jersey, she said they have 9 pedestrian deaths each year. Just people get run over by cars. And so she wanted to do something about that. And so she looked at expanding the bikeways on roads and then widening out intersections. So there was a couple intersections with only 2 stop signs, you know, and they painted them up. I mean, they just did all these things. They shut down a couple of streets for a week at a time. And then they just painted the ground green and put out benches, and everybody came. I mean, people just sort of naturally flowed into those spaces and start talking to each other, building relationships.
Wow.
And so that was a powerful, powerful experience for me. I'm actually going to try to bring her back to Cincinnati. And I think, Tommy, that I may even add her as one of the recommendations, because what she showed was how people can come together and do big things to bring about their own changes and not simply just sitting back waiting on government.
So, Eric, a couple of thoughts came to mind. I got 4 or 5, maybe even 30 or 100 thoughts that come to mind. Okay. So, two thoughts. With these geniuses, innovators, kind of doers out in this work,
right?
Either why don't the media really focus on that? That's one. Or if you are the genius, the innovator, the creator, how might you find your in group, right? That will spark additional creativity,
right?
Where you're not operating in a silo.
Tommy, that's a good question. So first of all, let me finish with this keynote speaker, because you're right about genius. what blew me away, Tommy, was literally I was in tears. She was not charismatic at all. I've never seen a person speak who wasn't charismatic, but was intellectually and passionately powerful. Her intelligence and her passion for doing the right thing.
Oh, yes.
She got a standing ovation. She wasn't PDJs.
Yeah.
She got a standing ovation because of this and this. And I met a friend at the conference. A young woman, underwhelming, probably subscribe nerd. She sat next to me and we just started talking. And she says, "Hey, I do music." I said, "Oh, wow." I said, "I love music. I do music on my kids." I said, "Do you know my son, Leo Pastel?" She said, "Yeah, I know him. He probably won't know me." Yeah. And then she sent me her tape, a song that she's done. And Tommy, she's singing jazz music. So a little nerdy white girl singing jazz music. Stevie Wonder, Patti LaBelle, and others are her heroes. And her gift of playing is like Mozart.
Oh, wow.
And yet here she is. I'm getting to your question. Yeah. She's there, not sure what I really want to do, or if I can do anything, or if I can be anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at her, Tommy, and I'm saying to myself, everything inside of me said, first of all, I want to hug you.
Yeah.
Second of all, I'm amazed that you're in the world and that you don't know who you are. I said, hold on, let me tell you who you are.
Yeah.
I said, you are amazing. I said, you are brilliant. You are gifted. You can do anything you want. I said, I'm interested in you working with integrity.
Yeah.
I said, but let me tell you this, I have a greater interest in you finding where you're supposed to be. I said, if part of that's with me, yeah. But all I want to do is help you. And that's the thing, Tommy. So what we have to do, first of all, let me say this to you, and I'm going to say it back to myself. First of all, I said I wasn't going back, didn't I? Yeah. You got to put yourself in places that are not familiar and that you may not even love being in. But you've got to put yourself in places where there are other people who are like us in their own way. Tommy and I don't mind being different. We don't mind standing alone, being weird or whatever. When I look around, I saw a lot of people that are individually nerds, proud of it, and trying to make a difference. And here's what I said to them. So they said to me, they asked me, Tommy, they said, we need to pick your brain. We're just frustrated that we're not able to attract Black people or people of color. I said, well, when you told me that at registration, I took notes. I said, and I could see that you're going to have some difficulty. I said, because you kind of remind me of Crossroads. I said, I love the church Crossroads. Crossroads is an innovative church movement. A number of former Procter & Gamble execs left P&G to start Crossroads to be a different kind of church. And they wanted to be a seeker-sensitive church. So they have coffee and tea, and it's just non-judgmental zone. And I went there a couple of times, and I absolutely loved it. And I said to myself, I don't think this is for me, but I walked out of Crossroads saying, God, you are in this.
Yes.
But here's the problem, that sometimes when you create something innovative, Tommy, you get to a place where you almost become judgmental.
Indeed.
Of the other things that exist. And so they kind of are judgmental of the traditional church. I don't think that that's God's heart, because I think there has to be room for all of these. But so what happens is that Crossroads, to a certain extent, says, I'm not willing to change my thing to accommodate you. You got to come into our thing kind of the way it is. That's what I see about Strongtown a little bit. They said things like, we don't believe in any political discourse. So if you got that, don't come here with any of that, because we don't want people to be turned off. Now, here's what I would say to you is that I don't think it's all wrong. So one of the things I said to them is that, first of all, you have to ask yourself the question, do we really want to diversify? Yeah. Do we? I said, now, it might sound like I'm asking that question as a judgmental question. I'm actually asking that question as a practical one.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're fine. You're doing great things. You don't have to. I said, and a part of what happens is when you put together an organization and some principles, some of those are important structural elements of what you're to be.
Yeah.
So people have to come and kind of get with that.
Yeah.
I said, but then but here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to learn from you too. Mm-hmm. I said, so why don't we set up a follow-up meeting to see if I can help you with some thoughts, but I'd like to learn from you because I think that there are things that some of these kind of organizations, nerdy organizations that have a few nerds that get together and do stuff. And Tommy, they go national.
Yeah.
And they get a bunch of people. That's what we need as a people group.
Yeah.
I find that people of color protest better than anybody, push back on systems better than anybody, but we don't always collectively come together and get things done and create strategic movements. Yeah. So there's a lot to learn from a Crossroads, from a strong town. Yeah. And so, that's a long way around it. But I think that we all have to put ourselves in places that we're not comfortable to meet people who are different than us and then kind of get engaged with them. And sometimes realize when it's time for you to stand down. You and I are extroverts. We're used to speaking publicly. We don't mind stepping back and saying, hey, listen to this voice. They're not charismatic. They are brilliant. They have a lot of solutions that all of us can benefit from.
So this is what we talk about and we teach and we share with corporations with regards to cultural competence. Mm-hmm. One, look at oneself. Mm-hmm. Where are the needs, gaps, and desires? Mm-hmm. Secondly, proximity.
Right.
So putting yourself closer to people or situations that you're uncomfortable with.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That sounds great in theory.
I love that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we are not looking, and most people I keep saying this, people are so burnt out today because of all the stresses and recovering from COVID and working 2 jobs sometimes, that they're not looking for anything else to do. Yeah. So you're right when you said it sounds good in theory.
In theory, right? Because again, we look at COVID, almost 4 years of complete discomfort.
Right.
The world was flipped on its head.
That's right.
Everyone.
Right.
We were scrambling.
Scared straight.
Yeah. And we were self-assessing.
Right.
We were getting closer, so we thought, to our loved ones, friends, and family, right? Because of whatever. I just know a lot of folks like, hey, I'm going to reach out to you, connect. Some of it may have been driven by the genuine appetite to connect. Some may have been just selfish that I'm social butterfly. I haven't been doing anything for 3 weeks and I'm going to reach out and, I'm going to jump on this podcast. I'm going to jump on this virtual conference. I'm not familiar with the organization, but I'm on it. And then I get on it 3 other times virtually.
Right.
That's in theory.
That's right.
Proximity now is waking up, getting dressed, getting in your vehicle, driving to a place and realizing when you get there, you're the only one.
Right.
And that organization, by way of registration or anything else, Eric, may say, we can use him or tap into him. We have a need, right? And so with good faith, they ask, hey, we want to tap your thinking. We know who you are, except Eric, I just experienced the same thing maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago with an organization that I have been asked to join as an advisor, from a gentleman, white gentleman, that I was his executive coach. Good guy. He's a good guy, and now we're friends. And went to a breakfast in Kentucky. It was at a church. Got to the church. It wasn't a lot of people there. Actually, it was no one there when I got there. Supposed to start at 7:30. I got there around 7:10. 0 people there.
Right.
So I actually left the parking lot and circled back. And then around when I got back at 7:15 or so, around that 7:30 time, almost everyone showed up at the same time. It was car after car after car.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there in my car, and folks are getting out of their vehicles, going in, and I'm just
Where's my friend?
Yeah. I do see my friend.
Okay.
It's starting to sprinkle. He has the umbrella, but I'm watching the other folks to see if I see me.
Anybody?
So after about 75 people, it
dawned on you. You were the door prize. You're the door prize.
Oh, so go in, Chick-fil-A, and I feel it. People turning.
Right.
Whoa.
Right. What do you do?
Couple of people ask me,
Yeah.
how are you? What's your name? Others right in front of me look and turn away. Right? No worries.
Right.
I'm gonna get my Chick-fil-A. I know who I am. Get my orange juice. I'm good. I'm gonna support my friend.
Right.
Right. He gets up on the stage. He's the leader. Right. He gets up on the stage, welcomes folks, shouts me out. My friend Tommy. Right. And yeah, I do one of these.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Tommy, he'll be one of the panelists for our golf outing that we have. We have that event. So be sure to come out in August, etc. He'll be one. You don't want to miss it. Right. He goes through, maybe about 15 minutes in, he shouts me out again. Right. I am the only one, so no one can miss me.
Right.
I was uncomfortably comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
In the moment, I was uncomfortable, like, hey, I'm the only one. I'm the only person of color. There are people that are talking to me, some people are not. But I am so comfortable in my own skin
that I'm good here in this seat by myself.
I'm good right here.
Did nobody say that to me? I'm ready for that.
I'm ready. You can shout me out 5 or 6 times. Thanks, John.
Right.
It's all good.
Right.
At the end of the day, I chopped it up with these folks, and I don't know how God was working, but he kept me there.
Right.
I do have to say this because the enemy told me to raise up.
Let's get up. Right.
Real talk.
Right. We ain't got to do this. We
we
off work.
We don't have to do this. Right. But God said, no. You're uncomfortable right now.
Yeah.
I got you. Right. Whatever that may be.
Right.
Things seen and unseen. I got you. And now, because you're the only one, they see you. I know my people. They're going to do their due diligence. Right. Oh.
Right.
Never know. Random call, random connection.
Yeah, that's right.
All in good faith and integrity.
Right.
So that's why I believe integrity, sound character is important. Right? Because one's character brand precedes them and it resonates more than they do, right? Such that when we get into uncomfortable situations, when we get into, we learn of a community that we're not a part of, but they're human beings in that community.
That's right.
And we go to that community, we're okay, they're okay, we build one another versus I'm unfamiliar, I am uncomfortable, let's divide. Yeah. So enough of the dividing. Let's go laugh. We had a whole bunch of laughs and talks and ate. It was quick, 90 minutes. We were done and off to work we go.
Right. Tommy, you're saying something there, and community, I want to kind of slow that down. We'll do that from time to time. Let me see if we can bring up. Thanks, Joe. I hope you're still with us, man. Appreciate you. Really do. And Lydia, thank you for that comment as well. But Tommy, you're saying something to us, man. And if I slow it down, what I hear you say is that for change to happen, sometimes we've got to be willing to be uncomfortable. Thanks, Joe. To be uncomfortable and to stay here.
Yeah.
I'm not being paid for this now.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm here because I have an eternal obligation to learn from others and to make spaces better as I can. And so what you're saying is that I can't turn off the internal ability to consider the offer that's on the table. Because you and I will quickly set that off the table. I don't have to consider that.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is that God is saying to us, I'm not asking you whether you think it's off the table. See, we don't do it that way.
I'm not asking you.
I'm trying to decide what I want you to do. So zip it.
Yep.
I know you got first impressions, but zip it and keep consulting me. And that's what I would say. Now, because of what Tommy has said, I now have to take I'm not going to be a part of this off the table. Because for us to find the answers that we're looking for, we're going to have to do some things that we've not done before. And that means that I'm going to have to be uncomfortable. And because we're students, you can study things. And if you're not careful, you even have a little judgmentalism.
Yeah.
You're evaluating every environment and saying, are these people, I see arrogance there. I see other little things that I say, I don't have to do this. This is my time. I don't have to endure that. I have to sometimes when I'm being paid, but I'm not being paid. And God is saying, I didn't ask you. Remember when you first got saved? And you came into the church judgmental and tell me about all the hypocrites, and I told you it was a hospital, and you're in it. That's what this is. So put your judger down and keep listening to me, because there's some work that needs to be done in this country. I'll tell you one other story, and then Tommy, I think we had something that we're going to talk about today.
Yes, sir.
The other things that I did this week is I had a chance to, I had been delaying them. Wendell started up something in Forest Park, because all of us grew up in Forest Park. Wendell started up something called Great Grads, where the Historical Society of Forest Park would bring back graduates that have gone on to do great things as an indication of the value of the Forest Park education. And so they had invited me several months ago, and things kept coming up. So I kept delaying. Hey, yeah, I'm coming. I really want to come. And finally, I was there this week. And Tommy, I went to this little place in Forest Park, little studio. They were videotaping it for YouTube. And all these old sort of historical society people were there. And most of them knew me. And they had gotten my book, people that I'd never seen before in my life, that follow me all on social media. They had my book and everything. And I was like, what? I didn't even know this community existed. And, I was just talking to them about my life and going down memory lane and realizing the impact that Forest Park has had on my life. I was the first Black senior class president in Forest Park history. I remember when I started at Forest Park, there were race riots as a freshman. And then by a senior, we had really bonded, my vice president was white. We had done some amazing things. I talked about a story where I remember there was this white guy that was really cool. He's hanging with the brothers all the time. I remember when the basketball court was poured. I was in Forest Park when the blacktop basketball for the first basketball court outside was poured. I watched it being poured, and I was the first one to play. I'd get there every morning, 6 a.m., work on my regimen. Then I'd come back and play basketball all day until I remember when they put the lights up. And then the lights went up. We play all through the night until the lights went off about midnight. But I remember this white dude was out there, and he was a cool white guy. Didn't say anything, and he was smoking his brother, man. And the brother and him, they had words. So he tried to walk away. And the brother came up behind him with a beer bottle. And I saw it, man. I remember seeing this unfold. And I was like, oh, no. Hit him over the head with a beer bottle. I thought the next time I was going to see him go down. He did one of these, Tommy. Saw his head was bleeding. He turned around. Like the Hulk. Went back to the guy. This drop it. Drop it. Body. Yep. The brother rushed him off the scene, man. That was an impactful thing. I was glad to the guy, because I knew the guy on the ground too. He was eventually fine, but it was karma. It was kind of like, but it was the bonding of where the lines started being blurred.
Yeah, yeah.
Where it wasn't just whites fighting blacks. It was whites connecting with blacks and being loved and supported by blacks. So there was just a lot in that. But yeah, man, so this was just a powerful, but I said all that to say, here I am in this room with all these older whites who are asking me, when are you going to run for president? And so, Tommy, there are people that believe in us that we don't even know. There are people that are supportive of our ideas that we don't ever spend time with. And I think that what I'm hearing you say is that we have to keep allowing God to direct us into places that we together with them can kind of create a better country in many ways.
I would agree, Eric. I was at lunch with a mentor of mine, friend of mine, Sam Ross. Sam Ross, a former P&G many moons ago. He started his own communications company that does very, very well. He does venture capitalists and things of that nature. We sat down and he started picking my brain, and I've known him for years. And I didn't question why he was asking me anything. I completely and totally trust Sam, just like I do you.
Right.
So he was asking me, and I just thought for whatever reason, I'll just tell you, what does your company do? Right? What's your life cycle of contracts, things like that? Do you bring other folks on board? Yeah, I do. I work seamlessly with Eric Ellis, just like I do with you, because he does the kind of our finished packaging for our reports. And he says, I think I know Eric. Yeah, we have a podcast together. We've been doing it for some years, et cetera. Oh, yeah, Eric. Yeah, good guy. We kept talking. We were leaving. He says, see you in the next couple of weeks, because we have breakfast or lunch every few weeks. He said, tell Eric I said hi. I said, I will. I'll see him this weekend. So I'm telling you, Sam says hi, for one. For two, I am very blessed and happy not to be able to hide my friends and family.
Right.
When I speak of them, regardless of what other people may have experienced with them, my experience is love. The vast majority of others' experiences with them is love. Right. There's a few.
Yeah, we both running there. Right.
And so I make that point because I do have suspicion. I've been burned several times, enough to have kind of
shine a light.
Yeah. And so I don't know, hey, do you know Eric Ellis? Who are you and who's asking? I've been there. Right. But if that was the truth of the ask, do you know Eric Ellis? Absolutely.
Right.
Flag on the stick in the ground.
Right.
My family.
Right.
Hey,
go on from there.
Here's
what I just said.
So that you know how to proceed with me.
Right.
Because it's deep.
Right.
Eric never. Let me grab this pole.
Right. Did you see me?
Standing
right next to it.
So I enjoy and I'm blessed that of my flagpoles of people that I'm sticking in the ground, and my personality is, once I stick it in the ground, and it could be a benefit or a detriment, I'm locked in like a pit bull.
Right.
It's
Terry's like that too.
Yeah,
Terry, good to see you, man.
Yeah. For whatever reason, I put that thing down, and I'm on a chain.
Right. You ain't about to go in them.
No,
you don't have that liberty.
No.
I'm the same way there. But I'd also say to you that I'm a big boy and I can take anything. So sometimes it just lets you know about them.
Yeah.
It's like I know that Christ is like that for us. Christ says to us, basically, I actually don't need you to fight somebody else for me. I got this. And so that's why I say to you too, I know you know that. But for me, here's what I know. I'm big enough to understand, not only are there some people that may not have the best view of me, I'm big enough to understand that there's sometimes things that I've done that have earned that.
Yeah.
I've made mistakes across my life, man. I haven't gotten it always right. So and I think that we all want to be there where I understand that not everybody's going to like me. And some people, I may have given them some reason for that. Because if you catch me on the wrong day at the right time or wrong time, who knows what you're going to get from me, So, but I'm also grateful to know that I have family in the world. Terry, Tommy, this is family. I mean, I know Terry, like if there's anything that happens to me anywhere in the world, I know I can call Terry Cooley. Yeah. And Terry Cooley is on his way. I love him. I know I can call Tommy. And I love you and you love me, man. And I'm grateful for that. And this show has even made us closer.
Yes.
We didn't anticipate that we would, we respected each other, but we family now.
Absolutely.
We love golfing together.
Yeah.
We can call each other for anything.
Yeah.
Anything. If I need $1, Tommy.
Yeah. I love it, man. I really, really do. And I also, Eric, I'm going to add that, and we will get to a couple of points for today. But conversations. This is called diversity conversation.
Right. That's right.
I'm going to speak selfishly. And there may be some people listening and part of my family or friends out there. But if you know me, you know this. Eric, I like to grow and or learn or to share in conversations. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that I can't talk about nothing.
Right.
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 I can do that if I have a whole show about nothing.
Right.
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 But for me, at one point, I need to ask a question. At one point, you may ask a question. Mm-hmm. We could be watching sports, football, and there may be a play that you don't know, and you may say, "Why was that a flag?" Right, and I know the answer. Right, I'm going to give it. Right, this is why it's holding. Right. He was grabbing him, holding his jersey, and then threw him down. That's a hold. So you got, he was on the outside. They've grown, they've learned. Mm-hmm. I have been around folks that I'm not. What are we talking about? What are we doing? Right. And it's not the first time. This is the 20th time. I'm like, and so I begin to separate. Right. What I believe is in these conversations, particularly with our community, it's something about our community that they come to have this conversation. They are always sharing something. Right, giving a nugget. Are you going to this particular event? Right, this is happening. Right, they're chiming in, kind of patting us on the back, etc. We're having a conversation. We're crying out loud. We're taking notes. Mm-hmm. It may not all prepare, but that was good. That was good. I'm going to take that and I use it. And I turn around real time. Like, I learned something this weekend in training on Monday. Mm-hmm. I would talk about something I learned on Saturday. Exactly. Like, that is great. Right. It is, isn't it? That's what I took it. When I heard it. And I do the same thing. That's it. Now, let me interpret this again to you all, because I've got a point of wisdom for you in our community. One of the things that Tommy and I have found that is not easily found in our industry. Our industry is an industry of knowledge workers. Mm-hmm. And so we get paid for what we know or what we can facilitate within those organizations. Yeah. So it's not uncommon to find people in our industry that are arrogant and might think they know everything. And sometimes, Tony, I don't know if you've experienced this. Sometimes if you say something, it'd be like, anything you can do, I can do better. Indeed. And so you feel like you're in a competition. Tommy and I never, ever have that. It is evidenced by our genuine ability to ask each other questions that we don't know. The only time you actually will do that is if you feel comfortable that that person's not judging you as being ignorant. There are teachers that students don't ask questions because they don't want to be seen as dumb. Yeah.
When students become comfortable, then they can ask any question. And what I've seen over the years is that when one student has the question, 10 students have the same question.
Yeah.
But Tommy and I have the relationship. We have so much respect. And I got the same thing with Terry. So much respect that we can honor each other, we can teach each other, and we can learn from each other. And that's just, you don't have an issue at all in your mind. There's no hesitation around it because you feel safe.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you that you need to have friends in your life that make you feel safe. If you don't feel safe, that's probably not a great friend. Because you have to feel safe. And I appreciate when Tommy will ask me a question, and I'll do the same to him. And we lean on each other about things that we don't know technically, but we're not playing that game of I got to hide all this because I can't afford you to see what my house really looks like.
Right.
And so I'm grateful for that. And my grandmother told me 50 years ago, she said, son, across your lifetime, you'll be fortunate to have one or two good friends. I said, no, Grandma, I got all kinds of friends.
Oh.
That's just your generation that didn't have a lot of friends. I got a bunch of friends. No. I'm telling you, son, in your lifetime. And what she was saying is that, and this is what Judy will guard for our family. Eric, don't be talking about me to everybody. Because she knows clearly that oftentimes this world is not looking. And I would say that if you trust just anybody with your secrets, then don't be surprised when it come all back flying crazy ways. So I just zip it most of the time. And I've got a couple of people in my life that I feel grateful to God. They have friendships that we can learn from each other. And that's a blessing. And we are grateful to have many of you, because there are a number of people in our community that we've had those transparent conversations with.
Yeah, Eric, we can take our intimate thoughts, our insecurities, our vulnerability, and write it on a little piece of paper and put that piece of paper on the leg of a courier pigeon. When you let that courier pigeon go with your little bitty piece of paper and your little message,
right,
and you let it go, if it comes back as a bulletin board, you have communicated with the wrong
That's
person.
right. That's exactly right, bro.
Yep. Take a little note. Here's
Right,
your piece.
right.
What? And it comes back.
Breaking news. Breaking news. I didn't say the full sentence.
I didn't say the full sentence. I whispered it.
They added the color.
And came back. Breaking news.
Tommy's got a harem of women.
What? Let's see. Where's the original message? Right, give it to me. Give it. Okay, I got it. Hey, marriage is work.
Right.
That's what I said.
And then you took it all of that.
And everybody else that looks at the original like, oh yeah.
I thought it was falling apart and you had already divorced.
Oh,
you had two other families and three of
and all that. It says it here. I mean, I went straight to the breaking news, received it.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I spread it some more. I went to the Telegraph
because you're interesting to talk about.
And now here it is. Okay, no worries. Let me find out who these pigeons are.
No. Now Tommy might deal with it differently than me. For me, it's just lesson learned.
Yeah, indeed.
You won't even know I know.
Yeah. That's wisdom right there, Eric.
You just got cut off.
That's wisdom.
Okay. Hey, E, I heard you. I don't worry about it. You cut off, nigga. You cut off.
Hey,
I learned that one on you.
Yep. It's on me.
I judge you. Okay. Now, it just depends. Some things we have to confront because you made such a mess. I might have to get you. Then you're going to be one of the ones. I'll tell you that when somebody comes to me and say what you think about.
Yep.
Because I'm tight.
Are you a sound judger of character? Mm-hmm. Sometimes our judgment is influenced by emotions like love. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we we judge family that the halo effect of halo bias. Okay, their family can do no wrong to me because I won't do wrong to them. And we may not, we're blinded.
Right.
We do that with our children.
Right. That's right.
We look at our children in certain ways. We're looking at them through the lens of love and compassion and wisdom. And here's some pitfalls I don't want you to fall into. Right. But then, you know, our children do what they do, etc. Our friends, enemies, we can engage with those who enemies may be a harsh word.
Right.
We may engage with folks who do not have our best.
I like that. That's right.
And you know, our lens is
right.
Integrity. Right. You make it plain.
Right.
It's a good faith effort. I mean, there's so much out here, and we're getting less than crumbs.
Right.
Let's get a slither of something. Let's share it. The other person receives it as he or she is stepping in my space.
Absolutely, Tommy.
And
it's preaching now.
Dog eat dog.
Yep. Yep.
And so, like in the judgment, I missed you because when it comes back, bulletin, right? And I missed it. I didn't see that in you.
Right. And that's disappointing, Tommy. I keep getting disappointed by that. So I didn't even speak to that. I get disappointed when you dog me and don't realize that I got people that love me in the world. Yeah. And that what you out there just saying about me sometimes gonna come right back to me. Now, here's the thing that I'm working on. Not actively working on it. I'm working on it though. Is that sometimes when I discover that either through your own mouth to me or through others, that you are not integrity centered in the way that I thought you were, then sometimes it's hard for me to ever get back to that just open, loving place. I manage it. I'm cordial. But sometimes it breaks off something in me, Tommy, that is hard for me to get back. And I know that God even wants me to work on that because some of that is unforgiveness. Now, I don't know if we should be offering forgiveness to people that haven't even asked for it. So that's the issue. You ain't even asked for it. So I'm like, God, really? Am I supposed to forgive him? They ain't even asked for it? And he's looking at me like,
are you sure?
I said, can I just put that on hold for a minute? Okay, guys, that's what you got. Your standards is way up there in the air. Right now, I'm going to get petty with it. And I'm going to smile at him, but it's going to be a smirk. Right? And I see him in a bathing suit. Funny, with a duck on the front. I'm so sorry. Okay, I still got work to do. You got to get your work done in me. Yeah, I'm just a clay. That's all I am. That's the part I can play. I stand on the wheel. Make something out of it. Yeah.
Redo this, God. Redo. I keep fucking over it.
Part that side, yeah. Yeah, I know it's hard. A little too much water in me. I can't stand up today. I don't know why. Loud everywhere. So that's how we are as people. You know, but the good news is I used to waste my time with active anger back to anger. Yeah. So I matched that. If you bring something to me, I don't know why, Tommy, but there's something in me that I used to match it. You come with energy, I match that. My kids told me, this is the funniest thing that my youngest son told me. He said, Daddy, he said, when we was young, he said, we would try to say something to you. He said, you look like, what? You, man, he said you would do 2 flips and blow up big as the sky. So that's what I come from. 2 flips, blow up big as the sky, you know. So God has helped me to move away from the 2 flips. Now I just do half a flip, and I don't really blow up externally.
Yeah.
But internally, if you really do something that you think can harm me, number one, I feel invincible against that. You can't hurt me. Nothing you say can hurt me.
bottom line, Eric, what we're talking about today is actually one of the points that we had planned to talk about. We'll get to another show around measuring oneself in development.
Woo!
We talked about what that point was. How do we measure our own development and improvement over a period of time? And then ultimately over our lifetime. Do we actually have, I don't want to say goals, but are we reflecting back to do a progress check? Do we have realistic and smart measurements, right? Are those measurements our measurements, or are there someone else's measurement that's put on us that may or may not be realistic? We're talking about individually and collectively self-improving, getting better. We've been serious. I got some work to work on.
That's right.
We've injected humor because our God, we believe, has humor. Has
Absolutely.
Is constantly laughing like, do you really believe you're in control?
Right.
Oh, okay, child. Okay. What? Go ahead.
Keep stumbling along.
You go ahead and do it. All right.
That's part of my plan too.
That's
part you stumble.
And boom, you down? You down? Okay. I see you crying, right? I hear you calling my name, right? Because every time you go down crying, woe is me, you think you're at the bottom, you scream out my name, right? As if I've left.
Right. I ain't been nowhere but watching you.
I'm watching.
So you didn't kill yourself today.
Right. It is the exact same thing, Aaron, when we were new parents and watching our toddler, our little infant, struggle to get up and walk, right? We were talking amongst the adults, watching our baby, right? We're talking, right? Going toward the steps,
right?
All right now, right? They get the attention, turn around. I'm always here. Not that I am an earshot away. I'm closer than that.
Right.
If you're getting close to the stairs and you're going to fall over, I'm not going to just say, all right now.
Right.
I'm going to be able to reach out in proximity and stop you.
Right.
God is saying, I am not arm's length apart. I'm actually in front of you, on the side of you, and behind you, below and above. Omnipresent, no matter what direction you go, I'm either catching you or I'm pushing you one way or another.
Right.
I think you need to go to the conference. I don't want to go. Okay. We'll see how your idea works. Right. You don't know why I gave you free tickets for that one. Right. And the person you met on the elevator that you just sparked up that conversation.
Right.
I'm talking to him too. Right? Yeah. And then you all walked off the elevator together. It happened just to be the two of you. You go to the concessions. He gets a pizza, you get a popcorn, and you both select Coke for yourselves. And now you're like, oh, you like Coke? I like Coke. And you're having this silly conversation around Coke. And that person you have never met before, but I'm sorry, you plan to meet him. And he planned to have met you.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
Right.
Keep thinking that.
Right.
Keep thinking that.
Right.
And now, over a Coke, popcorn, and pizza, you're sharing a little bit about yourselves, right? You may or may not remember his name or vice versa. But the energies of my children have come together in good faith and spirit, such that when you get down, stumble and fall, if you don't believe that I'm there, there's someone else of your brethren that's saying, I wonder how Eric is doing. I wonder how Brother Tommy is doing. And you hear that in the spirit of humanity lifting one another up through prayer, meditation, speech, and actions. And most importantly, just through thought. I'm thinking of it.
All right, Lydia, I got the title. You know, usually you have to send me a text for the title. But Tommy's sermon here has given me the title for this show. And it's titled Success Found in Unfamiliar Places. That's the title.
That's it.
Because I went to an unfamiliar place. And Tommy helped me to understand why I was so emotional when the last speaker spoke. This Indian woman who wasn't dynamic, who wasn't charismatic, who was brilliant and passionate. And I was moved to tears, and I saw this crowd of nerves erupt into a standing ovation. And what I'm hearing now from Tommy is that you're saying, God is saying, trust me. I need you to get out of your comfort zones, to get out of your ordinary places with your ordinary friends doing your ordinary things. In other words, if we want to achieve something great, then we're going to have to get out of the comfortable. And we as a people of color have got to get out of our paradigms of comfort. And we've got to begin to connect with other people of goodwill in order to try to make a difference. In other words, if we keep protesting and standing at the foothill of the government and saying, when are you all going to get the laws right? We'll be there till Jesus comes back. But if we listen to what God has said to us here during this show, success for us can be found in unfamiliar places, but places that are very familiar to God and God's purpose for our lives. So this show was not one that we anticipated. Tommy and I, we did our work. We had our plan, did we, Tommy?
We did.
We was ready.
We did.
Oh, man, we had gone over it and everything.
This is our plan.
This is our plan. Right.
But as usual.
Yeah, God scrapped that.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why Tommy and I know that we have this show is because you all inspire us to new thinking. Terry, I love you, man.
Yes.
I love you very much. Tommy, close us out.
Yeah, I want to once again shout out our community, those who are joining us live. T. Cooley, got some other folks, and sorry, I'm missing you on the scroll here.
Joe Jackson.
Yeah, brother Joe. And then others who are, circling back to take a look at the show. I would say this as we close out that, as Eric has mentioned before, 6 years ago now, we didn't know that this would be it. Our travel and commute to the station, I personally said, this is a burden.
It is.
Right? It's a burden.
It is. Right.
I can wake up and get ready to drive, whatever.
Right.
Enjoyed it when we were there.
Right.
And then had after show conversation and
Right.
then go about the day. Now, I don't know, Eric, what's next. Meaning, I so look forward to this, either in person, virtual, or knowing that if I'm away or you're away, we have an opportunity to come back. Because this is a log from our community and us to say, we are alive and in it.
That's right.
We're
That's
alive
right.
and in
That's
it.
right. That's
We're
right.
documenting.
That's right. That's
I
right.
can say all the time.
That's right.
And so I would like to close us out. There's a little bit of a lengthy close out.
All right.
But we want to invite the community back. We want to invite the community, if you want to be our guest. We'd love to have a non-virtual written dialogue with you, conversation. Just let's talk to you about anything, right? So as we part for today, we wish that you and your families are blessed, healthy, and are growing every day. We'll see you next week on another installment of Diversity Conversations. Take care.
All right now.